Why is it that when life becomes the hardest, faith becomes the first thing we begin to lose? When problems keep arriving, when prayers feel unanswered, when everything we depended on suddenly disappears, it becomes easy to believe that God has stopped listening. But sometimes, the moment when faith feels the weakest is exactly when it is being tested the most. This is the story of Sameera, and the quiet way faith returned when she least expected it. Sameera had spent most of her life in a small hometown. Life there was simple. People knew each other. The streets felt familiar. But when her son moved to America with his wife and their little boy, Tony, Sameera decided to go with them. The new country felt very different. The language sounded unfamiliar. The weather felt strange. Even the food tasted different. But Sameera did not mind. She was happy simply being with her family. Most of her days were spent taking care of Tony. She would cook for the family, play with the boy, and help around the house. Life was quiet and peaceful. Then one year, everything changed. The home that once felt full suddenly became painfully silent. And in one unexpected turn of life, Sameera was left alone with only one responsibility: Tony. Days passed like this, until one night something changed. Sameera sat again in front of the picture. Her heart felt heavy. Her faith felt weak. For the first time in many days, she whispered softly, "God, I don't understand why life became like this. But please, please watch over Tony. Give him a good future." After saying that, she wiped her tears and went to sleep. She expected nothing to change. But sometimes life moves quietly, in ways we cannot see. The boy was still too young to understand what had happened. But Sameera understood. From that moment, survival became her responsibility. There was no steady income. Bills continued to arrive. And Sameera realized she would have to work. She began cleaning houses. Every morning she left home early, moving from one house to another, doing whatever work she could find. The work was tiring, but she kept going, because Tony depended on her. Some nights after Tony fell asleep, Sameera sat quietly in the small living room. On the wall hung a small picture of God. Before, she used to light a lamp in front of it every evening, but now the lamp remained dark. Sometimes she sat there, looking at that picture, with tears slowly falling. A few days later, Sameera was cleaning one of the houses where she worked. The elderly man living there suddenly felt very sick. There was no one else in the house. Sameera helped him sit down. She brought him water. Then she went into the kitchen and prepared some simple food. She stayed until he began to feel better. Before she left, the man thanked her and gave her some money. Sameera politely accepted it, but she felt she had only done what anyone should do. She did not expect to see him again. Days passed. One evening Sameera was sitting at home with Tony. They were talking quietly when suddenly, someone knocked on the door. Sameera opened it. Standing outside was the same man. He smiled gently. "I hope you don't mind," he said, "but I've been craving the food you made when I was sick." Sameera laughed softly and invited him inside. While Tony happily played nearby, Sameera prepared the same meal again. The house that had once felt so quiet suddenly felt warm again. The man enjoyed the food. Before leaving, he looked at Tony, then at Sameera. "I would like to help," he said. "I can take care of Tony's school fees." Sameera shook her head politely. "No," she said. "I cannot accept that." The man did not insist. He simply nodded and left. Sameera thought that was the end of it. But a few days later, there was another knock on the door. Sameera stepped outside and froze. Parked in front of her house was a small food truck. The man stood beside it. "This is not charity," he said. "This is a loan. You cook with heart. Start selling your food. When you earn, you can return the money." Sameera hesitated. "What if people don't like my cooking?" she asked quietly. The man smiled. "People always recognize food that is made with heart." And so, Sameera began cooking. At first only a few people stopped by, then more. Soon the small food truck became one of the favorite places in the neighborhood. People returned again and again, not only for the food, but for the warmth with which Sameera served it. Every time someone thanked her, her heart felt lighter. One evening Sameera stood beside the truck watching Tony laugh while talking with the man who had helped them. For a moment she simply stood there, watching. Then slowly she looked upward, and her eyes softened. For the first time in many days, Sameera smiled, and quietly, she thanked God. Sometimes life becomes so difficult that faith begins to slip away. You stop praying the way you once did. You begin to wonder if God is still listening at all. But when life becomes tougher, do not lose your faith. Believe even more. Leave what you cannot control in God's hands, because faith does not always remove every difficulty, but it can bring peace to the heart that carries them. And sometimes, the help we are waiting for is already on its way, just like Sameera discovered. Sometimes God answers prayers, not with miracles, but with the people He sends into our lives. So when life becomes harder, do not lose your faith. Believe more, because even when you cannot see it, someone is still watching over you. Thank you for watching. And if you are going through a dark phase in life right now, remember something very simple. Night may feel long, but morning always arrives. No darkness stays forever. So hold on to your faith a little longer, because sometimes the light we are waiting for is already closer than we think. Subscribe to this channel for more stories.